Oh my God, it was such a trying time, you know.
Yeah. So we've talked to other former Hurricane players that kind of echoed your sentiments about Coach Shannon. It seems like
Hmm.
everyone loved him. He's a real
Oh
player.
my God, yeah.
Um, so when I was in high school, I was in high school during the Al Golden years, and I was
Hmm.
a diehard fan. I loved everything about the team. So I'm really interested to see your take on the Golden years from a player's perspective.
Hmm.
From the fans' perspective, we saw that first press conference he did, and everyone was hyped.
Yeah,
we're excited about his vibe and just everything that it seemed like he brought to the table.
yeah.
But what was it like in the locker room when he got there, and just the transition phase from, a Miami Hurricanes legacy guy in Randy Shannon
Hmm.
to, kind of the Northeast, just a different vibe with Al
Right.
Golden.
So I'll give you just a straight up answer. It was totally different. I mean, you got to think about it. Coach Golden was he was from New Jersey.
Hmm.
He went to Don Bosco High School. And also then he went to Penn State. He played for Joe Paterno. So I mean, the culture is totally different
Yeah.
from what he played in, grew up in, knew of. Even now, the team dynamic of where we were from, being from Florida, a lot of guys being from Florida, a lot of guys being from inner city Miami, a lot of inner cities throughout Florida. Just it was a different conversation that we were having with Coach Golden. I know me as a captain, definitely trying to relay the message from Coach Golden thinking, from how the team was thinking, and trying to connect that message. It was difficult at times. I mean, that was, I would say that was very, the disconnect was there, and it was very big, to say the least, just because everybody wasn't understanding each other on the level that Coach Shannon could understand us. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it was just it was hard to communicate at times. It was hard to get through. Um, it was hard to get through to him, and players, vice versa, on what each other was trying to say. You know.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, I think, like I said, when they hired Coach Golden, we didn't. A lot of us didn't even know Temple. We didn't even know what Temple. We didn't know the school. No disrespect to Temple, we just didn't. Well, I mean, a lot of us
Yeah.
were. You know what I'm saying? We just didn't know. We didn't know Temple. We was just like, Temple, Al
Yeah.
Golden. What is this? Like
I
we. You
yeah. I
know.
didn't know they had a football team when we hired
Yeah.
him. I was
Yeah,
like, I'm
man.
so
So,
classy in school.
yeah, like, no disrespect to those guys. I
Yeah.
know they probably fucking. I mean, I'm sorry. I know they probably.
It's good.
Okay, I know they probably won't like with that, but we didn't know. We didn't even know what Temple University was. So when Coach Golden came in, we were just like, we were excited, to have, new coaching staff, and I mean to have Art Kehoe back. So I mean, it was some things that Coach Golden did to kind of, that we felt, okay, Coach Kehoe. We didn't really know Coach Kehoe, so we was like, all right, this is gonna be a way of kind of bringing the old Miami back, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same, and that's why, you had, when those sanctions happened, it was definitely bad, because, you think about it, we were Coach Shannon's recruits, and now Coach Golden had brought in new recruits, and it was seen as, now we were almost tainted, like we were guys that were doing bad things, if you will, and Coach Golden recruits, now these guys are, and it almost created a divide. Like I said, it was only two true seniors, and we had a couple other redshirt seniors my senior year, but it was a big divide on the team, with that, like, with, stuff being said, with there being Golden guys and Shannon guys, and I don't know who started that,
Yeah.
that notion, but as you can see, that would create a divide in any locker room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With, guys saying this is, well, those are Shannon guys and that's how they act, and those are Golden guys and that's how they act, and that would create any turmoil on the team. So, I mean, that was a tough transition, and it came at a time we were still trying to come together. We had a lot of young guys on the team, a lot. We had a lot of young guys, a lot of young guys. So I mean, like Philip, then was very young, and then the next year they balled. I mean, they
Yeah.
went like 8-0.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I mean,
it's kind of like that. I mean, that next year was the season that everyone was building for.
oh
And
my goodness, yes,
yeah,
yep.
went 9-4 and everything like that. Your senior year, 2012, that's a very interesting season to me.
Hmm.
Because you guys had I think that was the best offensive team that Miami's had maybe in the last like
Oh
15
man,
years.
yeah.
And I want to ask you about a few games. I flew down to Chicago for that Notre Dame game. Don't want to talk about that one, but
Oh.
first one I want to ask you about is Georgia Tech. I mean,
Hmm.
probably your most famous game as a Hurricane. You scored
Yeah.
touchdowns. Take us through that comeback and just that game in general.
Oh man, that game was it was a good game. I think we had jumped up early on them, and then they came back and stormed back. I mean, they was killing us. I mean, and for us, I mean, it was early in the season. I mean, we had a young team. Like I said, Coach Goldie, he had us juiced up. We was ready to go. And honestly, I did not. Once we got up on them, we're thinking, hey, wing T offense, we're gonna control the game from here because they're gonna have to throw the ball. Next thing we know, we're down 36-17. You know what I mean? And kind of my teammates we got a bunch of young guys. I'm looking at them. I'm trying to keep them going, trying to keep them in the game because I know early you lose a big game, divisional coastal game early in the season, man, it can really, really screw up your season. It can really, mess with the morale. It can really mess you up in the coastal and really push you back when it come down to, tournament play at the end and trying to, put your hat in the ring. So I have been a part of this now for a long time and getting to the end of the season and you got to beat Duke and North Carolina got to beat Wake Forest and all this right here. And I didn't want us to have to deal with that. So I'm like, look, we need to do everything we can to put our foot on the gas and come back in this game. So I remember just telling Jed Fish, our offensive coordinator at the time, I was like, Jed, man, Jed he was from he had just left Seattle, so Jed he had a real good NFL mentality. So I mean, and we could call him by his first name, approach him any kind of way. So I just went to him in the third quarter. I said, Jed, man, I say, look, we got nothing else left. Just toss me the ball, man. Let's get to it. So I mean, we made a couple plays here. We made a couple big plays here, a couple big plays there. I missed a few holes. I actually could have had a bigger game. You wouldn't even believe. So actually looking at film, I was kind of mad at myself. But I mean, we hit a couple plays here. Then the third quarter roll around, and um, basically they get me the ball on the screen. With a couple seconds left in the fourth, I pop it in for like my third touchdown. And then a lot of people, I don't know if they remember, but in the fourth quarter, I mean, in overtime, the defense made a hell of a stop on
Yeah.
4th and 1. I mean, they stopped them on goal line 4th and 1, where this team does nothing but run the ball, and also they have like multiple options. They could have handed off to the running back. They could have dove with the quarterback. They could have ran a pitch. So they had multiple options in the defense. They held strong. I mean, and then we got the ball back first play of the game, and I just like honestly, I was tired. The game was so long. That was one of the longest games I've ever been a part of. I was ready for it to be over. So I mean, we ran 15 week. We fanned it out. I never forget. Brandon Leonard was the left guard. We fanned it out. Um, Shane made a great call. Shane McDermott, he made a great call. Steven did a good job of getting everybody to the line, getting a set. Shane made his call. Brandon them they fanned it out to the 3-4 defense. Boom, they picked up the three technique in the end. Mo did a great job of going inside, picking up the linebacker. Then it was house call from there. So I mean, it was like they did everybody did what they was supposed to do, and I
Mhm.
was and I was I was more proud of the younger guys checking in and understanding that those are the moments that we talk about, when we're in meetings and so when I honestly that Georgia Tech game, it was so happy. I was so happy to get it over with and to get it done and how it transpired. But when I look back on that next season when they went 8-0, I knew what they took. I knew what it took to win all those games. And I knew that they was pulling from that Georgia Tech win from last year because I knew what we had accomplished as a team to just continue to keep fighting. And when I seen them continue that in the next year, I was very proud as a Hurricane to just be a part of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you know that game is one of my favorite games as a Hurricane fan growing
Oh
up.
yeah,
And
me
actually,
too.
you know, when we found out you were coming on the show, we tweeted out the video of you scoring that game-winning touchdown, and everybody loves that play just because
Oh man, it was
it
great.
was a time period when you know, we weren't in the top 25, but those are the moments that, you know, we really cling to. And so I
Right.
think it was the next week you guys are playing at home against NC State, and Stephen Morris goes insane.
Oh, he goes. Oh, let me tell
Let's
you.
talk about
Oh
that.
my God.
What
I'm
that
glad
like?
this is. I'm glad this is a statute of limitations, so now I can like tell you everything about like what happened that week. So, North Carolina had a really good corner. His name was David Emerson, or I'm trying to think his name was. I think it's like his name was Emerson. But he went to the Redskins. It was his number was number one. They also had a good safety that went fourth round to the Philadelphia Eagles, Earl Wolf. They were both top ACC players, but they had a real issue with you. They had an issue with jumping off sides. They could not stop jumping off sides. I don't know why, but for some reason their D line, when there was a hard count, they would jump off sides. So Coach Fish, being the great OC he was, man, he was a phenomenal OC. You would get a free play when they jump off sides, and we had one of the fastest players in the country with Philip Dorsett. And I don't know if people know, but Stephen Morris had a rocket for an arm. So basically, these dudes would jump off sides. Their DBs, they would fall asleep, basically like just lollygagging, thinking the play's over. And we were just running bombs. And and Steve would just launch them down the field on free plays. So whether if it was an interception, incomplete pass, or touchdown, we were going to get the ball back or, score a touchdown. So Coach Fisher, we were just hard counting the whole play. And Stephen Morris, he went for like 500 yards. And you know what I'm saying? And then on the other side, Mike Glennon, who I ended up playing with in Tampa, he actually went for like 400 or 500 yards that game too. So it was a crazy game, and Coach Fish did a that when I talk about coaching, he coached his butt. He coached his behind off that game. Steve Morris went off. Don't get me wrong, Steven had to, do all the plays, but I have to give Coach Fish credit because he put together a game plan that was, it was phenomenal. He called every play perfect. I think we ended up winning that game on Phillip ended up winning that game on a bomb, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he drew the game up from start to finish. Like it seemed like Coach Fish had like scripted the whole game out. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's an interesting season because the last few years, and even before you came to Miami, the story was that we had a dominant defense, but the offense couldn't do
right.
shit.
Right.
But then when you were there, especially that 2012 season, you guys are averaging 31 points a game.
Oh yeah, man.
But the defense, it was a struggle. Especially I remember that Virginia game. I think it was 49, 45. Was it frustrating at times to see the defense, let up so many points or what?
Well, yeah, it was frustrating, but we couldn't fully. It was a collective thing, that was tough. That was tough. I don't know exactly what was going on because I wasn't in the defensive rooms, and like Coach Fish would tell us, our job is just to fucking score points and not to worry about anything else. So that's what we did, honestly. And I do remember that. We were on fire as an offense, and I remember that being a little turmoil in between the lines a little bit of, trying to figure that out on how we stop people and how we score enough points to win the game. So it was frustrating at times, but I did understand that. It was, because if you think about it, we went to Kansas State. Kansas State beat us 58-3, and we didn't score any points. So it's we want to blame it on defense, but defense could have been like, well, you should have scored 60 points, So so as much as I want to pass the buck, I have to be fair and say, I don't know exactly what was wrong, but it was frustrating, and we did, we did, try to do all we can to to win games. But the defense, it was young. They were young, and seemed like we couldn't get a beat on things at times. So it was frustrating.
Yeah. So that 2012 year, the running back room, that's like the 1-2 punch with you and Duke Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of my favorite things thinking back to watching Miami football.
Nice.
Take me inside the running